Factors to Crime by Benjamin Kierman and Molly Booker. So what is crime? Crime, as defined by the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, is an illegal act for which someone can be punished by the government, especially a gross violation of the law, or a grave offense, especially against morality. Race and crime, Michael Vick case study.
Michael Vick was a quarterback for the Falcons. In 2007, he was found guilty for participating in dogfights. Sentenced to nearly 2 years in prison, he was ordered to pay almost $1 million to help provide for the animals that were rescued from the dogfights and $3,750,000 to the Falcons. He lost his endorsements, was suspended from the league, and his multi-million-dollar contract with the Falcons. He served only a year and a half in prison and spent the next 3 years on probation. Allowed back into the league and signed with the Philadelphia Eagles in 2009. In the Gallup poll conducted before he was sentenced, it showed that out of about 1,000 people, 51% believed his punishment should be short, while 35% believed the sentence should be longer. 58% said that Vick should be banned from playing professional football, and 75% wanted their own team to blacklist Vick. A new study was conducted in 2009, made out of 400 people. 91.1% finished the survey completely, while 8.9% did not. 85% of the people were white. Its hypothesis was that whites will be harsher regarding punishments for crime than those who are not. Questions on Vick. One of them was Vick's punishment too much, too little, or fair? Those who said too much equaled 12.47%, too little 42.89%, and fair 44.64%. Another question was, should Vick be allowed to play professional football again? Those who said yes, 56.14%, and no, 43.86%. Then they asked questions on crime and justice. Should prisoners who have paid the price for their crime and are released have all rights and freedoms restored? And they also asked surveyors to state their agreement with this statement. I have a great deal of respect for the police. Answers could be strongly agree, neither, disagree, or strongly agree. The results were, whites viewed Vick's punishment as fair or too little, more than those who were not white. Non-whites were more likely to view Vick's punishment as being too much. Whites did not think that NFL should have allowed Vick to return, and those who agreed with the NFL's decision to take Vick back were more likely to be non-white. Whites are more strict when it comes to the criminal justice system than non-whites are. Whites are more likely to obey the authorities of the law and are therefore less likely to see the authorities' behavior as too harsh or misconducted. People from minorities are more likely to see the authorities' behavior as too harsh and misconducted, and therefore are less likely to obey them. Whites are more likely to see criminal justice decisions as just. Non-whites are more likely to perceive criminal justice decisions as unjust.
Crime in schools. Almost 2 months ago, there was the Parkland tragedy. On February 14th, 2018, 17 people died in one of the deadliest mass shootings in U.S. history. I know it was a horrific tragedy and one that should not be repeated. But what is the truth to school crime? Well, according to the Encyclopedia of Criminology and Criminal Justice, schools are among the safest places for children to be. They are twice as likely to be victims of violent crime away from school than at school. And this is especially true in the inner cities. So what are the numbers? The NCES, the National Center for Education Statistics, defines a school-associated violent death as a homicide, suicide, or legal intervention involving a law enforcement officer in which the fatal injury occurred on the campus of a functioning elementary or secondary school in the United States. The most recently available data from the School-Associated Violent Death Surveillance Study suggests that there were 38 violent deaths in elementary and secondary schools in the United States in the school year 2008 to 2009. Homicides accounted for 24 of those deaths. So while the violent deaths and school shootings understandably draw mass public and media attention, The percentage of youth homicides occurring at school remains less than 2% of the total number of youth homicides in the United States. And while I think we all agree that any number of youth dying is too much, and especially at school, less than 2% is still a negligible number on the grand scale. So why is this important? It's important to note that school shootings are the exception rather than the norm, and that crime has been decreasing at a rather large rate. So some data. Data from the 2009 Youth Risk Behavior Survey suggests that there has been a 50% decline in the percentage of students carrying a weapon on school property from over a decade and a half earlier down to 6% of students, which is a massive, massive decrease. So if crime is going down, then what's the issue? Well, bullying is on the rise. The percentage of students in grades 9 through 12 who reported being in a physical fight on school property decreased from 1993 and 2009 from 16% to 11%. A greater number of students report having been bullied at school than being in a physical fight, 32% compared to 16%. This ranges from being made fun of to being pushed, tripped, or threatened with further physical harm. Now, while physical violence has decreased by 5%, mental or bullying in general has increased by over 100%. This is an insane statistic in only 16 years. So what can cause kids to bully others? Well, there are many different factors. Those with ADD, or attention deficit disorder, can experience difficulty keeping up with demands in school, have reading difficulties identified early on in their school careers, and fall further behind their peers approaching high school. More persistent antisocial behaviors over the years coinciding with entry into school. Indeed, cognitive deficits, hyperactivity, and concentration problems have all been consistently shown to be associated with violence in boys. Now, this is taken from a study taken from over 400 boys, and this included boys with ADD and regular boys, and also boys with mental disorders and depression. Depression and mental disorders can cause bullying as well. And so all three of these factors can cause violence, especially in boys. So what should we do? What are the answers to solve this problem? Well, the culture of bullying can lead to more mass shooters. So how do we stop such tragedies from happening again? What we should do is have greater awareness of what is bullying and give teachers greater disciplinary powers to correct the behavior in kids who are having issues, as well as medicating kids who have severe mental illnesses. The reason we should do this is that if we do not allow teachers to have authority in their classrooms, they can't stop kids from doing things that harm other kids. And that is one of the prime reasons for why teachers should have greater power in the school. So in conclusion, the perception of the criminal justice system, it varies greatly based on your race. Minorities are more likely to view the police in a negative light. Same with African Americans, Hispanics. They're all more likely to think that the system is unjust and unfairly biased against them, whereas whites are more likely to perceive the criminal justice system as fair and balanced. School crime is on the decline, but in order to stop more mass shootings, the bullying culture needs to stop. Credits, editing, Benjamin Kierman. Research, whole group effort. PowerPoint, whole group effort. Reference page, Benjamin Kierman. Recording, Benjamin Kierman and Molly Booker.